My name is Michael C. Glisczinski, and I was born on 9/10/28 in Durnane Township, and been raised on a farm, and went to school for 12 years, and therefore my mother passed away, and I had to help my dad with the rest of the family, and till I finally got drafted and I went into service when I was about 24. I was drafted in the Army on February the 8th, 1951. And went to Minneapolis, was sworn in, and sent us by train to Fort Lewis, Washington. And was there about 5 days, and then they put us on a plane and go to Camp Rucker, Alabama. And I was there in training for till November of 51. Then I got what do you want to say? I had to go to Korea then.
When you were drafted, where did you do your training at?
My training was Camp Rucker, Alabama, and I was there until November. Middle of November, and then I went home for 14 days, and from there on I was had orders to go to Camp Stoneman, California, and they put us there about 2-3 days, and they put on a ship and went on to General Gordon, and it was 14 days to Yokohama, Japan. I was there about 5 days, and then you put on another ship and was sailed to Korea.
What was the date that you arrived in Korea?
I arrived in Korea, I think it was the 14th of January, 1952. And I was there until November, when I had accrued enough points to go home. And so I left the day before Thanksgiving. We got on a ship at Incheon, Korea, and headed home. And of course I stopped in Japan for, I think it was another 5 days, and I had to wait for another ship to go to the United States, back home. And I got home, we got to Seattle, Washington. I think it was the 23rd of December of 52. I was released from the Army, and because I served my term, and so then I got on since I was discharged, I was thinking get home as soon as possibly can. And so we got on a plane the 24th of December. I got home Christmas Day, 10 o'clock. We landed in Wool Chamberlain, and I don't know how my dad knew about it, but anyway, he must have figured I'd probably be on the plane, and so he was there waiting for me. So we got home, and we had Christmas dinner together. And I was going with a nice lady, and so the next thing was I had to go see her, and she lived here. Her parents lived here at St. Peter, and So I went over there to see her and met her, and boy, it was a joyous moment. I hadn't seen her over a year. So
So where did you arrive in Korea?
I arrived in Korea, I think it was the 14th of January, 1952,
And where at?
Incheon. And the the ocean was so shallow right there, they couldn't come in with the big ships, so they had to send us in with small boats, and got on to Incheon, and put us on a train there. There was no heat or anything. We just had to wait until the train got going. Took us to third replacement company, and from there they got me into a company. I was in the tank business. I was a mechanic for tanks, and so anyway, that's where they said since I was a tank mechanic, they really had a place for me. So I was sent to the tank division, third division, 15 tank company. So that was there for my full time while I was in Korea.
And so what were your duties like?
My duties were in Korea. I was a mechanic, and I was in charge of 5 tanks. And I had a helper, the friend that he was actually from Nebraska, and he came there. I got there in January, and he came in April. But we worked, when he came, well, he joined me, and we worked on these 5 tanks that keep them going. That was a big job. Sometimes we had to go up on the front, towards the front lines where they'd be situated, and have to work on tanks right up when they were on the firing line.
Can you tell me about some of those experiences?
Somewhat.
Can you tell me about some of those experiences?
Experience? Oh, the company area was standing about 2 miles back of the line of fire, and there was times when we'd go up there to work on a tank that the North Koreans were firing artillery in, and so we had to kind of wait around, and we'd stay in the bunker until it get dark, or start getting dark, and then we could do our job, what we had to do, and then we'd motor back home back to the company.
So you were trying to fix the tank in the dark?
Yeah, we had to do it in the dark. Yeah. Well, actually, we knew about what had to be done, and it didn't take that long. The most problems they had was with batteries. The batteries would get weak, and then the engines wouldn't start. So we'd have to use a generator, get them going.
Where exactly were you stationed during that time?
Where was I stationed there? I don't really know, because there was no town around or anything. So I think we were in the Chorwan Valley. And there was nothing there but just the normal ground or land, and so anyway, there was no towns.
What did you know about Korea before you went?
I didn't know anything about Korea, not a thing.
So what did you think when you got your orders to go over there?
Well, when I got my orders, I just figured, well, I'm going overseas, and They didn't really tell me I was going to Korea, but anyway, that's where I went, because that's where the war was.
What was it like where you were stationed?
Where I was stationed? Well, it was just rough country, mountainous, and there wasn't anything there as far as buildings or anything. It was just plain land where we were. We stayed in what had a 12-man tent. The 12 men could stay in this tent. And then when we had to move, well, you had to take the tent down, move along with you, and then set it up in the new area where you're going. We always went to a different spot, and then from there, the tanks would work. They take care of their job.
Where were you when the armistice was signed?
General Eisenhower was our president at that time, and he called for a peace. And there wasn't actually an armistice. It was just I can't think what you call it.
A ceasefire?
Yes, right. And so far it is that way at today. And I was about halfway home on the ship when that happened.
What did it feel like when you received the news?
Yes, I was glad to be where I was.
What was kind of the general reaction?
Oh, everybody was happy that the war was actually, the fighting had ended. And also when I didn't do mechanical work on the tanks, we had to help with hauling the fuel to these tanks. And it was hauled in trucks with 5-gallon cans. And also the ammunition, we had all those, they had 90 millimeter shells in them, and we had to help them haul the ammunition up there to the tanks. So we were usually busy.
So when did you depart from Korea?
I departed, I got on the ship the 24th of, I think it was the 24th of November. Anyway, it was the day before Thanksgiving. And we had our big turkey dinner on the ship. And good fresh milk. That was the thing. We all we had out in Korea was powdered milk. So that was really good.
So you departed from Korea about November 24th of 1952?
1952, yes.
So when you said you were on the ship when the armistice was signed in the summer of 1953. Did you continue in the service?
Was it what?
Were you still continuing in the service?
I was still in the service, yes. See, when I got to back into the States when he landed, then I went back to Fort Lewis, Washington again, where I had when I came in the service. I got my clothing and everything in Fort Lewis. Well, when going home, I had the same way. I went through Fort Lewis again, and from there I went home.
What was the date of your military release?
The 24th of December, the day before I got home. I got home the 25th, which was Christmas Day.
Of what year?
25th, I don't know what day it was, but it was the 25th of December, 1952. Yeah.
After your military release, what did you go on to do?
Well, I got a job for a while in St. Paul working in a manufacturing place, and they were building cabs for drag lines. And so I worked there for a couple of weeks, and they went broke. So then I lost the job there. So then I got a new job at Westerman, or well, anyway, I got a new job, and my wife to be she was a nurse, and she was working at St. Joe's Hospital, and so I kind of stayed kind of close to be with her as much as possible, because we were thinking about getting married, and so then in February we had our wedding, the 7th day of February, 1953. Yeah.
So what is Korea to you now?
They have, what do you want to call it, programs where you can go back to visit Korea, but I don't really have any feeling to go, because I feel it's probably more modern today than it was when I was there, and so I wouldn't get anything out of it.
How did your military service and your wartime experience, how has that affected the rest of your life?
Oh, it didn't seem to interfere at all with the rest of my life. I had good contacts with my family and my brothers and sisters, and with my wife to be, and so everything went well.
Is there any kind of like message or a word of wisdom that you could pass on to younger generations?
Well, my feelings today, I get so many letters in the mail where they want donations, and they want send them articles because some of these soldiers need this to take care of themselves. But when I was in the service, I didn't have anything like that. We lived what we had there, and that was it. And that's what I feel now. I says, why should I have to be? I get these letters every day in the mail, and sometimes I get a pile that high, 20, 25 letters. And I think they should be able to take care of themselves and do as the best they can. That's what I did.